That's Mickey. This is Candace. I'm Gerard. And today on Canceled Weekly, we're talking Captain Fantastic. We got a little Shia LaBeouf action. Brett Weinstein's chiming in. But first, Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon.
Do you think that there's another Epstein Island out there right now?
12. Better. Newer. Yeah. No, the kids go down a slide into a furnace. It's a... No. I mean, are you nuts? Of course there's a better island.
But
Oh, no. Marriott Bonvoy, whatever company that is now, they own every hotel in America. The Marriott Bonvoy, they're dumb. Marriott owns everything. Go to any hotel now, it's just owned by Marriott.
Really?
They've taken over. They're building, new islands every day for billionaire pedophiles. Absolutely. I think it says it on their website. They're quite proud of it.
There's a slide that goes down into a furnace.
Oh my God.
Oh man, that sounds like the Bahamas. What's the one that they're always trying to get you to go to in the Bahamas? What is it?
Atlantis?
Yeah.
With the shark slide?
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would you go to Marriott Bonvoy Island there,
I
Mick?
never knew what Marriott Bonvoy is, but I don't want to go to any of Epstein's Islands.
Yeah.
So I gotta say no.
I gotta say now. What about you, Candace? Do you think those islands are existing out there?
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
You think they got 12 more? You think Tim Dillon's onto some shit?
Yeah, there's probably countless, right? Like, it's not like all of these people that had this horrible proclivity for children all of a sudden disappeared.
All these highly powerful
they're still
elites are
out
just
there.
like,
Yeah.
oh well, now I don't need walnut sauce.
We gotta get like Tim Kennedy and a group of like mercenaries to go down there, free the kids, kill all the bad guys.
Be a great movie. Be a great movie.
All right, I'm signing up. If you got this out there, I'm in. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's go do some search and rescues.
SEAL Team 6 goes rogue and just starts going to these different elite islands. Just goes to Davos.
How righteous
where
would
the
that
World
be?
Economic Forum is chilling.
Yeah,
Wild.
that'd be dope.
That would be dope. That would be something. I'd watch that. Yeah. I'd watch that flick. Yeah, I gotta tell you though.
Reality show.
I gotta be real. I probably would have went to Epstein Island the first time. Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have known.
One of them, no.
Yeah.
Anybody that's like been to a strip club or gone to a bachelor party, especially a guy that tries to sell scripts all the time. It's like, hey, I finance movies. Why don't you come on my private jet down to my private island? We'll talk about it, bud.
Sure.
Are there going to be underage children there? No, it's not. No, you're
You
like,
wouldn't
okay.
ask. You just would assume that there
Sometimes
wouldn't
the
be,
flight,
right?
It's when you get there. It's when you land on the island and you see these girls and you're like, man, this guy's got a lot of.
And then you go back
kids.
54 times or whatever.
And then the girls are asking if you want like a.
Yeah.
He didn't know. We never put it together.
Yeah, well, that was the funniest thing with Bill Clinton. Where he's like, who? Who are you talking about? They're like, the guy you flew with 39 times. We're business partners. We've flown together, what, 3 times? 4 times? Maybe?
Yeah.
39 times this guy flew?
Yeah.
Oh, they're like, who? Was it Jeffrey? You talking about Jeffrey? And then they did that.
Wait.
They did that Netflix
commercial like we are.
No, private.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
6 people on that plane.
I don't know. You can't miss each other, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The guy's plane. Oh, my favorite thing of all time. You want to talk about like favorite comedians? When you asked me the other episode, the guy I completely left out is Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais.
What he did to every one of those Hollywood
the Oscars
elites
or whatever that was?
faces
Epic.
is so
dope.
amazing. I know he's your friend. I know it's hard for you to get here because you couldn't take Jeffrey's plane.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks's face was like, oh, that's my adrenochrome. I want to see them get embarrassed like that, harvest the blood from their embarrassment, and I'll snort it. I'll snort it right, and I'll snort that processed baby blood.
Cheese off the wagon.
You said
He's sniffing again.
You said there would be no more elitist blood, and you're lying. Yeah, I would. Oh man, definitely. Oh man, yeah. If I would have been there.
You look like you
I don't
got
think I
that
would've
shirt
gone back.
from there, to be honest.
So I went there once.
I'll never return.
Yeah, what do you think? Like, and I do believe, obviously with my conspiracy theory mind, but I do believe that there was some sort of like blackmail operation going on there. There was some sort of
for sure.
blackmail. Hey, come down to my private jet to my private island.
Why would you not
Absolutely,
take
bro.
covert photos of these people, the most powerful people in the world, doing it?
Yeah.
Right?
People say that's what that painting is with Bill Clinton and the dress and the heels. So that's like the first painting you would see going into his mansion in there. And
Epstein's?
Yeah, and the whole idea is like, I've got you.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's also, you know, what I think, and I kind of asked this to Roger Stone, and he just looked at me, and I was like, so, you know, Trump promised to release the Kennedy files, and then he didn't. Why? Like, out of all the things, why would you hide that?
Right.
You know, and then I'm thinking about it, and then I'm like, well, obviously the CIA brought it to Trump and was like, here's the files. You might want to read that one right there about who did it. Okay, I'll just keep these over here, no problem. Yeah, you'll keep those over there. You remember that shit too. You know, they were like, when the CIA is like, yeah, we did it, motherfucker. What about it? Could happen once, could happen again. And he's like, well, I guess we'll keep these files. Yeah, nobody needs these files. It's so long ago. So long ago.
Yeah. We'd never do that again.
Never do it again. But you know what we would do again?
Tell me.
Watch Shia LaBeouf. Big fan.
Oh, yeah. Even
Brett
Stevens,
Weinstein.
man.
My purpose in life isn't to be happy no more. That's what my purpose used to be, which is such a aim in life. My aim in life, in totality, my whole purpose for existing in life was to be happy. And that's not my purpose anymore.
And now?
Yeah, my purpose now is to be useful. And so it doesn't make me useful to my wife to shame spiral on some like it makes me useful to my wife to show up for my wife and be stable for my wife when we take our kid to the children's hospital and she's tripping. And I happen to have a relationship with God that centers me at this point where I can be in an environment like that and be able to hold it down in that environment. So that's what my amends looks like today.
Good for him. Good for him. Also note, if you add the Interstellar score to anything, it becomes epic.
So that whole conversation, for anybody that's interested, with John Bernthal and Shia LaBeouf is very, very, very powerful, impactful, and interesting. You should check it out. What are your thoughts on this, Candace?
I agree with so much of it. And I think that we get a lot of our fulfillment from how we contribute and how we can provide for other people. And I think that goes across the board for men and women. Like, we want to be useful. And I think just chasing happiness, which can be fleeting, obviously is a losing recipe. Where I would add to that, though, is yes, purpose, contribution, providing, all of those things are super important, but it's very easy, especially for men, to get lost in that's it, and then we forget about the rest. Like, you're a whole person too, so joy, having peace, I think is also really important. And he uses going to the hospital as a really good example, and so much of it I agree with. Like, he's being solid for his wife so that she can feel it. So she can be the mom, right? And then he can be stable for her. But I think if we forget that he also is going to need that processing and release, if you have a sick kid, then you have a dad that's just like shoving down and denying his humanity and his feelings. So this idea that men aren't allowed to be emotional or also have these different waves, I think that leads to men being depressed, isolating themselves from their family because their only meaning is to provide.
Yeah, it's the definition of happiness too, is perhaps externally manipulated. Like, you're in LA, you're in that environment, you know, chasing pleasure, chasing happiness means drinking till 4 o'clock in the morning, doing drugs till 4 o'clock in the morning, fucking random women. And that may be pleasurable, but that may not be happiness. In fact, that may provide the opposite of happiness. It may be pleasurable in the moment, but it provides despair, in insecurity, inequity, and in all these other things. I think
I got the answer for this.
Go for it.
I think it's both. I think happiness is a choice. Happiness is how you wake up, right? You wake up and you choose, like, your mind could be like, go this way, it could be go that way, it could be thinking about the bullshit. It could be grateful for the things that you do have, and you choose happiness, and then you go be useful with that happiness. I think happiness is like, obviously it can come off as like, be happy, like go do whatever your heart desires, go drinking and go chasing what you want, whatever. But I think happiness is more of a choice, like a disposition.
Yep.
And then useful is what you do. I think that's the ideal way.
Sure.
You let the happiness fuel your usefulness, because you can't get up being useful. But
I like
you could
that.
start.
I like that, and I catch myself sometimes being too self-centered and like trying to get use out of people as opposed to being useful. Right. So then I try to have much more of a service mentality. How can I be of service? How can I help you? What can I do? And I do find happiness in that. And then, whether it's, I feel like, and there's always like some sort of self-serving reason for it. It's like, all right, maybe this guy owes me one, or maybe this will lead to some other business or whatever it is. But I want to be useful. I want to be of service, help people.
Feels good.
Yeah. As opposed to looking at everybody and being like, what can I get out of this guy? What can I get out of this relationship? What can I get out of this dinner? What can I get out of this group? Right? Like you're kind of like, okay, what can I provide? And that seems like a simple thing, or maybe it seems innocuous, but it's a very powerful shift.
And it's also karmic. You put it out, it comes back too.
Yeah, it's the shift in your mentality, I think, anyway. And like when you go into something and you're not saying, what can I get out of this? But you're going into a situation going, what can I provide? I feel like it's a very different energy that you send out.
Yeah. I think like I said, happiness is a choice. I think it's like a discipline thing. You know what I mean? Like it's choice. It's like you can go one way, and sometimes it might take you longer to get out of it, but I think you can get there and then keep that momentum flowing, like keep it rolling. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think that's a pretty smart way to look at it. And another guy who has really smart ways to look at things is Brett Weinstein.
We embraced the idea that market forces were the right way to administer science. And those market forces, in fact, upset the delicate balance. They disrupt science. And so much of what we call science now is really the product of science departments. It's the product of people with scientific degrees, but it does not follow the scientific method, and it should not carry the same power in our minds. So if you want to dethrone the postmodern movement and all of its outgrowths, which we should, because it is simply about power and it does not have the ability to navigate difficult problems of the kind we face. But if you want to dethrone it, the way to do that is to make science robust and to insulate it from market forces so that scientists can tell us what we need to know rather than what we want to hear.
One of my personal favorite podcasts is Brett Weinstein and his wife, Heather Hying, the Dark Horse podcast. Really, really great stuff every time they put it out. Candace, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I think it makes a lot of sense. And we used to be able to trust institutions and scientists. And I think that we were illuminated during COVID and how we all have our own perspectives, our own life story, and sometimes our own narratives that we are trying to like force onto other people. And there is no such thing as the science. It's a process. And it's if you get a diagnosis, the standard protocol always used to be, okay, go get a second, third, fourth opinion. And no one was offended by that because we don't even have an agreement on how to solve cancer, right? So to say this is my scientific opinion, period, and anything else is misinformation, where did that come from?
Yeah, great point. There was a humility to science. Einstein, would call it the theory of relativity. I don't know. This is my thoughts on it. Not the fact of the irrefutable fact of relativity. I think it speaks to institutional capture. What are your thoughts on this, Mick?
Real quick, the scientific method. That's like question something, form a hypothesis, then test it.
Correct.
Then see the results and then test it again.
That's right.
Can it be repeated?
Can it be repeated?
Right.
Have a control group?
Is it falsifiable?
Correct.
So that's what they're leaving out.
Well,
they're kind of going without that. And I totally hear you, the 100%.
think
Anyone who
feels...
speaks like 100%, this is a fact. If you can't prove that shit, don't talk like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, the humility of Einstein, calling it a theory. There's a lot of people who are just telling you this is how it is, without being able to back it up.
Because they have something to gain by it. They have something to gain from it. I
just think that's a problem.
Yeah, I think what Brett's saying there is that not only are they not doing the scientific method, more nefariously they're rigging it because they have they have an outcome and they're trying to figure out a way to get to the outcome. So it's not science;
it's an agenda.
Correct. And who I actually blame for this more than anything else is the media. Because there's always been junk science. There's always been snake oil salesmen.
Sure.
But it used to be the media that would be like,
their job.
It turns out cigarettes actually aren't good for you. These doctors are lying, right? This was the media's job. And if there's anything that we can't trust. Forget the institutions. Our media has lost all trust. All trust in the media, if we ever had it, any trust should be gone. The fact that 25% of the population still trust the media is insane to me.
Whoa.
It's 25%. 25% of the population still trusts mainstream news. That's insane to me.
But if you get 80% of your ad revenue from one industry, how can you say that they have an objective perspective on anything? So I think it's upwards of 80% of all of the ads for most news channels is big pharma.
And then that's one of the things that people will use as an arrow against capitalism. And I would say that's not capitalism, because there should be as many channels as you want. You know, the fact that InfoWars has basically been shut down because it's misinformation or dangerous misinformation gets, Tucker Carlson has, the most watched cable news show of all time and gets fired because he doesn't toe the line. Well, guys, that's not, when the governments collude with the corporations to silence the citizens, that's not capitalism, guys. There's actually a term for that. It's called fascism.
I kind of feel like the only law should be like no money in politics.
How do you enforce it?
You can't, like, it has to just be, it can't be, you can't be given, I don't know, put the FBI on that shit.
Well, that's the problem, is then the politicians, they're the ones that appoint the FBI.
Well, get rid of lobbying.
Do you guys think there should be money in politics?
No.
I can't think of a good reason why there should be.
I think you're supposed to get in and out. I don't think you're supposed to make a career out of it for the rest of your life. I don't think you're supposed to get rich off of it. It's supposed to be service and contribution.
A civic duty.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do it for a little bit of time and then you pass the torch.
Agreed.
The problem is no one's fucking passed the torch, because if you look at how many 70-year-olds there were, it was decline, and then hockey stick up. What are you talking about? If you look at some of these people, they are on their deathbed, and then you are supposed to be servicing the country. That doesn't make sense. Take Nana and put her in a home. She shouldn't be in Congress. This is insane.
Assuming Dianne Feinstein is even alive when this airs. But yes, yeah.
So this is crossing right now. California Senator Dianne Feinstein has died.
Mitch McConnell zooming out. Yeah, it's.
What do you think he's staring at that whole time?
I know exactly what he's staring at.
Yeah.
I know exactly what he's staring at.
Go to Gerard DGAF.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, the cracks in the system are definitely showing. But I again, good. We shouldn't just be trusting what we see. We should not just be adhering to the academics, to the credentialed. I'd say we shouldn't just be deferring to the credentialed. But the institutional capture really does. It's going to set us back. It's going to set us back because we just don't know. We have no idea. We have no idea what's good, what's bad. We're all kind of going to have to be our own scientists at this point. We're all doing the scientific method. I don't know. Let's try it and see where it goes. You know what I'm saying?
So when they first launched ChatGPT, the accuracy when it came to mathematics was 100%. And then they started giving it different parameters. And as it started to censor ChatGPT, like this is socially an acceptable answer to give a user, and they tightened and tightened and tightened. I believe now it's in the single digits as far as the accuracy for math. Because what happened is you had the computer, which is self-learning and learning off of the feedback. It had, okay, these are truths, and I'm operating in that. And then as you started to take the truths out, it confused the AI so much. They're like, I don't know which way is up or down, and now it can't do math.
You're serious?
Yes.
So if they started to take over, we got to use confusion. We'll
do math in cursive. We'll do algebra in cursive, and we'll be fine.
They'll figure out that archaic writing.
We'll figure out that archaic writing. But until then, we can watch Captain Fantastic.
They're children. They need to go to school. They need to learn about the world.
Oh, weird. A liberal white woman's yelling at somebody.
She's so funny.
Jackson, would you please come down here for a second?
Look up her name.
She's great in Parks and Rec. I'm forgetting her name, too. She was on
She's in
Saturday Night Live.
Step Brothers.
How old are you now, Jackson?
13.
Can you tell me what the Bill of Rights is?
What something costs, I guess.
It's a good guess. Justin, you're in high school?
Yeah.
Do you like your school?
It's whatever.
Do you know what the Bill of Rights is?
It's a government thing, right? Like rights that people have in America and stuff.
Yep. Hey, Saja?
Yes?
Would you please come down here a moment, sweetie? I wanted to ask you a quick question. Saja just turned 8, by the way. Bill of Rights.
Amendment 1. Congress should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of
Stop. Regurgitating memorized amendments isn't what I'm asking for. Just tell me something about it in your own words.
It's not the Bill of Rights. Be more like China. Here, at least, we don't have warrantless searches. We have free speech. Citizens are protected from cruel and unusual punishments.
That's enough.
Are protected.
Wait a minute. Saja, how would you characterize the 2010 Supreme Court decision on Citizens United?
Corporations have the same rights as people, so there's no spending limit on candidates. Which means a country is ruled by corporations, and their lobbies do fund candidates and command their fealty by demanding
Jesus
it.
Christ. You made your point. We get it. It's very impressive. All of you.
Boom.
Her name's Katherine Han.
Katherine Han,
Yeah,
that's
she's
right.
great.
Han.
Yep. And for people that don't know what's going on in that scene, he's homeschooling his kids.
That very loosely, like he is a wild man. They live in the forest, like they are completely sovereign and off of the grid. And they had to go in for this whole story, but she doesn't agree with how he's raising the children and thinks that they
that like her brother?
need school. Brother-in-law.
Okay.
Uh,
What's this show?
Captain Fantastic. It's a movie.
Okay.
It's really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll watch anything with Viggo Mortensen in it. The guy's incredible.
But it
Love
also
Viggo
kind of
Mortensen.
spoke to, like, you were saying, well, what's the solution? How do we make sure that these politicians aren't captured? And he mentions it right there. The moment that we made corporations have the same rights as people, there's no spending limits, and then you can lobby and you just buy everybody.
They were doing it anyway. They just made it legal. No, Citizens United is tough, but they were doing it. It's like the NIL's kind of in college where they made it legal for the boosters to pay the kids, where they've been paying them for 20 years. You know, the hard thing with this is how do you, with Citizens United and, you know, getting money out of politics, is just how do you police it?
What if everything was on the blockchain so it was just available to you?
What do you mean?
So with blockchain technology, there is some kind of anonymity, right? You could sign up under a certain username, so it wouldn't necessarily say Gerard made these transactions, but everything is traceable back. It's kind of like these puzzle pieces. So you can't just put in a mismatched puzzle piece. So you can see the entirety of the campaign and you can see where all the money comes from.
But dark money is the thing. Dark money, you know, pallets of cash coming in, you know, rubies, diamonds, stock options. There's so much dark money. There's so much going on that is unreported. I think the big takeaway from that is the future belongs to the kids who educate themselves. The fact that the girl knows what her rights are. You know, the fact that she's able to you know, be self-sufficient through that knowledge. The idea that knowledge is power is very, very. And I love the new term that Corey DeAngelis is trying to coin, that they're not public schools. They're government schools. It's a very important distinction. You can't just walk into them. Me and you can't walk into it like a public library and decide, hey, we want to use this gym. Hey, we want to learn a little more about history.
I just heard that for the first time.
They're not public schools. They're government schools. It's a very, very important
who coined that
delineation.
term?
Corey DeAngelis. The idea that they're public, no, they're government
Shout
funded.
out CD.
They're government funded. They're government ran. They're government regulated, and they're government required. It's a government school, not a public school.
Wow.
So
How's that never come up before? Is this like a super new term?
Yeah, it's part of the propaganda war. You know, everybody's trying to win the semantics game. So it really does change the perspective. It really does change the perspective. A public school would be open to anybody at any time. You can't just go in there. It's the government school. You even want to use the gym in your local high school, you got to go get a permit from the town.
Yeah.
It's the government school. The government will pick your kids up and bring you to government school and then teach them exactly what the government wants them to know. Right? Why does the government not want you to know your rights? Why does the government not want you to know? They want you to know they exist so they can be like, we tried to teach you. You know? Why does the government not want you to know coding? Why does the government not want you to know how the tax code works? Why does the government not want you to know how credit scores work? Out of all the things we should be teaching people how to exist in this society, we should be teaching them how to exist in this society. You know, I mean, knowing what happened at the Battle of Waterloo and when it happened is important. Absolutely, sure. But knowing fucking what a credit score is and how it impacts your life is way more important. Way more important in the pragmatic sense of things.
100%.
You know, we've talked about this before. Schooling is it's tough, right? I almost feel like school
seems almost like people don't want you to know how to use your money. Don't want you to know certain things.
Yep. Schools exist as like a jobs program now for people. It's almost like a Ponzi scheme. The education industrial complex tells people to go to college where 90% of the jobs, all you could do is be in the education system.
Right.
You know? I don't know. Are you, Candace, are you planning on homeschooling your kids? Or are you sending them? What are you planning on doing?
So if I could have it my way, we're trying to open up a Socratic School where we're at because I don't want to move. We're looking at Texas, and I just think that's a bad idea.
What are the tenets of a Socratic School?
So there's no grades typically. So you have a lot of ages in the same classroom.
Mixed.
So you teach the older kids the responsibility and then to truly understand the topic or the subject, because then they now have to teach the younger kids. So it's not just memorizing, it's fully comprehending whatever it is.
Because if you could teach it, then you really know it.
Right, and then it's more how to think, not what to think. And some of these schools have done some like really radical experiments within this within the class, which is really amazing. So one of them, which is kind of founded in Texas, and the founders from Harvard actually. So what they did is the kids are in charge of like when they eat, when they go outside, if they want to go to the library. It's kind of up to them at what pace and where they spend their time, as long as everything gets accomplished. So they came in, and the head of the school was like, okay, well, today you can actually only go to the playground from 12 to 1. So they designated a time. Everyone was okay with it. The next day, the teacher or the head of school comes in, okay, well, we're actually going to change lunchtime to this time. So now you can only go outside at this time. You can only eat at this time. Raise your hand now if you have to go to the bathroom. You can't just help yourself to the bathroom. Oh, see that book section? You can't read those. Those books are banned now. And they kept infringing on these kids' freedoms up until this little 5-year-old stood up and was like, to the head of school. And like, it's an experiment, right? So he stands up and he's just like, this is not what our school stands for. This is going against my freedom and my rights. And who are you to tell me? And his little kid, and then everyone's rallying around him. They're like, yes, we're taking back our school. And then they showed him, this is how it happens. It's not overnight. It's one little take at a time. And then all of a sudden you have no rights or autonomy. Yeah. So every encroachment is an act of war, and you have to treat it like that. Like, yes. Don't give an inch. And they're teaching this to 5-year-olds. And I'm like, that's brilliant. Amazing. Yeah, it's awesome. Amazing.
Because that is the truth. That is how they do it. They go inch by inch by inch, and they make them tiny little things. Like, oh, what's a 1% increase in taxes? What's 1%? Yeah, right. You'd rather not pay 1% more in taxes, and then kids aren't going to have lunches, you monster. It's like, well, what about the other 15% that's happened over the last 5 years?
Yeah.
No, can we ever go backwards? Is it always going forward?
1 plus 1
it's
plus 1 plus 1.
It's little. They move the goalposts a little bit, and then you look up one day and you're like, "What the fuck? I'm at the 50-yard line. How did this happen?
Yeah.
How the hell is it 1st and 40? What's going on here?" That's such a great point. The Socratic. I personally like the Japanese model as well, but that's a highly disciplined model. It's almost the opposite. I wonder what the perfect amalgamation of those two things are. The Japanese schools don't have janitors. The kids clean up after themselves. They work lunch shifts. Like, we'll eat lunch, but then we prepare the lunch for the next lunch. It's a very accountability-based system. It has its flaws. The suicide rates are very, very high for teenagers in Japan because you only get to continue on certain courses if you grade into them. So the idea of the late bloomer is a very difficult concept in Japan because if you have to grade into a high school, or I think they call them college. Don't get me. You have to grade into a high school to even have a chance to go to medical school. So if your grades in 8th grade are poor, they'll send you more towards a vocational path than unless you're mega wealthy. like everything, like everywhere else. But it's efficient. Japan's all about efficiency.
Efficiency, but I mean their birth rates are plummeting. Like you said, suicide rate is really high. The average man is like 30 and still a virgin. There's no connection, no intimacy happening. It seems inhumane.
Yeah.
Honestly.
The average what now?
The average age of a virgin in Japan is 30.
That can't be true.
Christian.
Wait, why?
I mean,
because Japan's super red pill, trad pill Japan.
There's gonna be a lot of reasons.
Or Chad?
They're a bunch of chads. They're a bunch of trad pilled chads out there in Japan.
What was the reason, Candace?
I think everyone's gonna have their own version as to why.
What would you say? What do you make up is the reason?
I think Japan has always taken a really big interest in emerging technologies before pretty much any other culture. And I think that they're spending a lot more times in digital spaces and not in
human spaces.
Right, not in like real third spaces.
Yeah, wow.
And they're not mixing and mingling. And I think it also goes down to
I could see
purpose
us going that
and
way.
function. And
what's the average age of a virgin in America?
I don't know.
Japan, it's
16,
saying
I think.
42% of men aged between 18 to 34 are still virgins.
What? 42%?
In Japan, yeah. That's from CNN.
So it's definitely true.
Yeah.
No, but there's multiple sources. It's really high.
17.1.
And then I think they also
US.
have the highest amount of
17 is
people
the
that
US.
have relationships with like sex dolls, like
yeah,
you know what I mean,
Sure.
or bots, like the sex bots. But yeah, it goes
they
back
got,
to
like cartoon porn too.
So this
Yeah,
is
the
telling me
USA, it's way
What's up with
lower.
that?
this is telling me
What's up with
Japan
that?
is 19.
What do you think of that?
well,
19
their
in
regular
Japan.
porn is super censored. It's all pixelated.
Yeah,
so
they
I
blur it
think
out,
the
right?
more you take the humanity away from that exchange, the more you're going to start looking for artificial ways to get that need. So then you're like, okay, well, I'll just have like an octopus and 8 legs, and then
Have you guys ever jacked off or gotten off to some cartoon porn?
No.
I feel like you have. You like your fucking cartoons, motherfucker.
Marge
have?
Simpson.
You have?
Yeah,
I was,
I've,
oh
When I
my
was
God.
younger, yeah.
Yeah,
When I was
I've-
like 16.
I've dabbled in
Really?
the
You too?
13, maybe, yeah. I mean, probably.
It's called
I
hentai,
gotta
dude.
believe it. There's
called
some
hentai,
reality
you
here going
troglodyte.
on. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some great video game porn
Troglodyte.
out there, man. There's like if you like BioShock and all those.
I don't know what that is.
It has to be the same people that
You
made
know
the
what
game.
Bioshock is?
Yeah.
I don't know
Is
what
that a
that
video
is.
game?
Oh my
Yeah, it's more like a morbid curiosity, to be honest with you. It's like it's pretty wild to watch Batman fuck Harley Quinn, like from Arkham. It's like, wow, somebody actually made this. Somebody's doing this. Somebody's rendering this.
I don't get it.
Somebody's doing this. This is wild, man. Like, wow. This is so lifelike. Who is doing this? Like, I think it's like it really is a morbid curiosity because I know how long it takes to produce these things. And I know how much effort and energy goes into, if let alone money goes into animation. And I'm like, who is spending the time and money on this?
There's a market for it.
It's wild, man. Yeah. But, I mean, it's not my go-to. That's for sure. But it is pretty
All right.
interesting.
Have you've 10 times have you done it to that?
10 times in my life?
Yeah, in your whole life.
Yeah, probably. 10 times? 10 times?
What about you, Christian?
Cartoons?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like 2 when I was like fucking, a minor.
That's 12 too many in this room.
12?
But
Yeah, you
that was
10,
before.
Tim, you
Dude, that was at like 12
math.
or 13.
All right, whatever.
That doesn't count.
Don't let him bully you, bud.
Yeah, that
No,
doesn't
guys,
count.
you guys are weird.
Not
12
everybody on
12 to
earth can
13
jerk
days
off
ago.
with a fucking mirror, okay? Like, shit.
Like American
in that
Psycho.
movie.
Yeah, it's American Psycho. Is it weirder? It's fine. I'm not.
Nah, you're weirder.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next clip. Watch the walk. First the walk. And then the middle finger she's going to hit him with. She's pissed.
Wow.
That was good accuracy. Are you allowed to hit in the head, though, in dodgeball? I
You're
know
not
in school
supposed
we weren't allowed.
Those are
You're
adults.
out if you did it.
Those are adults.
Adults can hit in the head.
Yeah,
I
they're
bet
playing.
back in
Well,
the day.
I just played adult dodgeball recently, and headshots were still not allowed.
And nowadays they think this whole concussion thing is like a big deal.
The pussification of America continues.
So soft.
Soft.
Yeah. Next clip.
Can I pet that dog?
No. No, he's sleeping.
So that's not the audio. That's audio from different that's been dubbed on, but that's yeah. It's not the real audio.
What?
Am I blowing your mind right now?
That is
What?
her.
It's not the real audio.
That ain't her.
No.
Oh, I thought you were so
No.
cute. Can I bet that?
No, yeah, no, it's a little boy. It's a different video. That's just as cute, but it works for that. Yeah, it works for that. Well, sorry guys. If you don't like that, I got some bad news about Santa Claus.
Shh. You don't know who's listening, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Christian.
Ready for the next?
The last one.
Right on. Here goes nothing. Okay, hold on 1 second. Ready? See me commentage. Era. No! Oh my god! 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 Bruce, take a pic. Bruce, take a pic. Bardon, if you're here, take a picture with me. Oh my god! Oh my god! I feel him. I literally, I literally have my back. David, do you hear me? I have my hand on him. David, do you hear me? Holy god! Bardon, take a picture. Bardon, take a picture. Bardon, take a picture. Take a picture. Take a picture. Go, girl. I'm smiling. Got it. You got it. Let me see. Oh my god.
How did they do that?
Did it beforehand.
They set him up.
No, he thinks he's invisible forever.
That's so funny.
Oh, that poor little monkey.
That's so funny.
Oh no.
The only one I've seen that might be better than that prank is the one they pulled on the husky. They did the exact same thing. Did you ever see
dog?
that? There's
A dog?
There's a husky, and so they make the husky sit down, and the wife sits on a chair, and then there's the husband or the boyfriend puts like a cover over it, and as soon as the cover goes over it, she crawls out of the room, and he pulls the cover, and the dog loses his
He's
shit.
like, what?
Goes like, hey, what'd you do?
Those.
What'd you do with her? What'd you do with her? Bring her back. He loses his mind. Yeah. Now, how old is that kid? Because I need to know whether to feel bad or bully him.
I was thinking the same thing. I think he looks like he's probably 10.
It's right on. He's on the cusp. He's on the cusp.
That's
right.
still a little boy.
Huh?
Oh, it's definitely bullying.
Good.
Oh, it's definitely bullying.
Yeah. Definitely don't do that if you're thinking that that's funny and I want to pull that on my kid. Don't do it to your 15-year-old kid because they're immediately going to start trying to go feel up girls' boobs. Oh, I'm invisible. Can't see me. Can't see me.
They're going to be like,
oh, this is what I've been looking for my whole life.
I have some ideas.
How funny would it be if the dude's like, I'm invisible? Get these clothes off. Stop. Grandma.
Okay, you're here. We see you.
Yeah. That's actually. Hey, if you are a kid that's watching this for some reason, but thank you. That's what you do. If you want to know whether you're invisible or not, the test is to take your clothes off.
You'll find out very quickly.
Yeah. If your parents want to pull that prank on you in public, take your clothes off immediately, and they'll.
Or if you're getting attacked. If you're getting attacked and you know you can't win and you know you can't outrun them, start taking your clothes off. They'll be super aggressive and they're going to be like, what the fuck? And they're going to run away. That's a very good self-defense technique.
One of my favorite comics, one of my favorite people in the world is a guy named Dave Landau. He has a great show, Normal World, on Blaze TV. He's fantastic. Love Dave. And he does a bit that is so funny where he tells a story about him and his degenerate friends when they were growing up in Detroit. One of their, they'd be like 15 or 14 years old, and they'd take their clothes off. They'd like draw straws for who had to do it. And the guy would take his clothes off, and then he'd like lay naked and like face down, butt up on like garbage at this intersection. And then of course like a guy would come up and be like, "Hey kid, are you all right?" And then their friends would like be walking down the street as, "Hey mister, what'd you do to that kid? Hey, what are you doing?" And people would be like, no, I found him like this. I swear, like, we're calling the cops. Are you okay, bro? And they would do that.
That is so dark.
I was like, bro.
Did we clip that?
I was like, I told him my thing. I was like, bro, I think staged pranks are punishable by death. He goes, oh no, this isn't staged. those people had no idea we were doing this.
Yeah.
I was like, brother, if you had been born during the TikTok age, you would have 1 billion views. 1 billion views. I was like, that is the wildest shit I've ever heard. And he grew up in 8 Mile, Detroit. So they're just laying face down, ass up, like in the garbage, and then they're waiting around the corner for somebody to go up and be like, "Dude, are you all right, Mister? Hey, Mister, what'd you do to that kid?" Oh, Dave Landau is a national treasure, just like Canceled Weekly. If you like us, give us a subscribe, a follow. I don't know, maybe we're on TV by now. Who knows? Peace.